to the NASCAR post-race show. I messed up the intro. You were supposed to have a short video, but I hit the button too fast, so you're not going to get to see that today. We are here to recap the Firekeeper Casino 400 at Michigan International Raceway, which was a hell of a race. I'm your co-host, Joe Spilman, along with Steve Risley and Ryan Peters. But before we get into the show, I want to remind you that The Grueling Truth is powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet for finding an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Steve, quit shaking your head. That was an okay opening. That was just okay.
Ryan looked like, I figured that's the look that was on Kyle Busch's face the minute before he got hit and taken out of the race today. He had the exact same look on his face. You just couldn't see it because his helmet was on and his face mask was down.
Ryan, I fucked that all up. How are you?
That's the look of death that I gave into the stray cats that I strangled after Kyle Busch wrecked after lap 25 due to J.J. Yaley. So I just wanted to make sure that I saw their life in as I was into that stray cat. But no, it was a great race if you're not an 18 fan. So
yeah, Steve,
you guys are going to have a great show. I'm sure of it.
Steve,
yeah,
let's hear it.
Oh, I thought it was a great race. I thought there were some iconic stories in the end. I mean, for Kevin Harvick to get a win and to get in the playoffs, and now there's only one spot left. Push Truex out. Truex finishes in the top 10, top 5. Where did he finish? Yeah,
I think he finished fifth, didn't he? Yep.
He finished
fifth.
He finished sixth. Still gets booted out of the playoffs, and now Blaney's hanging on by the end of his seat, and then Bubba Wallace literally crying in the post-race interview because he felt he let his team down bad enough that he couldn't get the win. But there's a lot of great stories to talk about, including what I'm sure Ryan's going to want to talk about with JJ and Kyle and being taken out. I had Kyle as one of my 5 drivers, so all in all, I thought that's a mundane track, and they made it a great day at the end, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
Well, Steve, you're right. I thought it was a great race as well. Before we dive all the way into this show, let's round out the top 10 for today's race. As you mentioned, as both of you guys mentioned, Kevin Harvick got his first win of the season today. I think that snapped about a 60 race drought there, didn't it? I think his last race was at Bristol in 2020 that he won. So I know we've talked on this show, on our Wednesday show and our post-race show, as to whether or not Kyle or Kevin Harvick may be becoming irrelevant in the sport. And he went out and got a win today and showed that he could still drive and had a great car. And I know, we talked on the show about the Fords having some problems, at bigger speedways this year, but they were kind of fast today. So obviously Kevin Harvick got a win, but to round out the top 10, Kevin Harvick finished first, Bubba Wallace second, Denny Hamlin third, Joey Logano fourth, Ryan Blaney fifth, Martin Truex sixth, Kyle Larson seventh, Eric Jones eighth, Alex Bowman ninth, and Ty Gibbs rounded out the top 10. And of course, I picked him because I thought he would have a good race today, and he actually worked his way back up in the top 10 after a bad pit stop. And I think he went a lap down, didn't he? Did he get a lap down?
He had a speeding penalty.
Yeah. So, but let's get into the wreck between that J.J. Yaley cause, took out half the field. And Ryan, I kind of want you to break that down for me and tell me what you saw and what you think happened.
Well, what I saw was J.J. Yaley saw himself within he had a 2 in front of his place position. Normally he has a 3, 30th, 31st, 32nd, and he had a 2. And he's like, oh, shit, what should I do? And he's like, you know what? I'll just go into the middle lane, and then I'm going to slow down for some ungodly known reason. And better yet, I'm going to change my lane and just go high. And so he did a great job wrecking about $1 million worth of equipment today. He had a guy that possibly could have got a top 3 in terms of speed and qualifying, sent him into the wall, broke 2 tie rods on him. But, Rick Ware Racing it's like putting a 12-year-old in the MLB to pitch and that's what Rick Ware Racing is to NASCAR. So, congratulations to them. Congratulations to JJ Yaley. He got in the spotlight. He's definitely going to be on, the next NASCAR show because it's going to be the first highlight they show. There's a reason there's not a sponsor on that car, and that's because they got idiots driving it and an idiot that owns it. So outside of that, congratulations to the 33rd driver in the owner standings, and JJ Yaley. He made a headline today and ruined a lot of good cars. And congratulations, Rick Ware, for being just a fucking idiot that you are and still being allowed to own a team and sponsor like 4 cars. Don't even have the same manufacturer sponsorship. So congratulations, NASCAR, on letting that clown drive and continue the circus that is the back of the pack. On to you guys.
Steve, follow that up.
I can't even touch that. All I'm going to say is this. Rubbing is racing, boys. Have at it. Go to Joe. Take it over.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think actually during the race, Dale Jr., I believe it was Dale Jr., one of those guys had great commentary on that and essentially said, why is he sending it, with 14 laps to go in the stage? Why not just ease into it, finish in the back of the pack where you always do, don't get anybody in trouble. You're not going to go a lap down. You're going to stay on the lead lap, for the next 14 laps. So what are you doing? You don't have a car to be in contention. You're not. And essentially he took out contenders today. But I understand it as well. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand he's out there to be competitive.
With who?
Yeah, with himself. I mean,
with Rick Ware?
I'm not saying he's actually going to compete, Ryan. I'm saying he's out there to try to be competitive with himself, I guess.
Hang on, Joe. I'm auditioning for a new lawyer show out here in Hollywood. I've got an audition Monday morning set up, so I'm going to be a public defender who doesn't get paid.
Okay.
All right, and I'm going to take on.
And that's what it would take to go against Rick Ware. There's no way that cheap son of a bitch is ever going to pay for a fucking lawyer. So yes, you would be a public defender if you had to take the case of Rick Ware. Sorry for interrupting, Steve. Go ahead.
I'm just saying. Oh my God. He's out there. If you don't think that JJ Yaley wants to try and win a race, and Ryan, I'm going to say egg on your face if come Daytona, that little son of a bitch turns around, as Daytona can do, and he ends up winning the damn race and makes the playoffs.
I'll do this show naked. I don't care. I'll do a full frontal camera. I'll do this show naked if JJ Yaley wins that race. And we'll just pan up and down. This is the grueling truth. You'll get a grueling truth of how god-awful this body looks, if that's the case. Go ahead.
I don't think he's out there with the intent of trying to crash Kyle Busch. I think there's enough other people that are out there trying to do that on their own. I can't even do this. Go ahead.
It's not all on JJ Yaley. It's actually on Ben Bayshore, his piece of shit crew chief, that wants to decide to get tires after they've run 20 laps when these cars can now, what we've shown with Goodyear, can run 50 laps on these tires. And Ben Bayshore's like, let's bring it down. Let's go race with the clowns and give front seat to this circus. So Ben Bayshore's a piece of shit. He's already cost them 4 or 5 races already this year. It's a great thing. Steve, you get to be this, top 3 finishes in the last 6 races. We're outside the top 10 for the last 8 races. It's a great time to be alive if you're a Kyle Busch fan. I sent you guys a video of a guy possibly jumping off a balcony, drinking bleach. You know what? I would have done it, but, I don't have the balls. So it was a great race. There's nothing like sitting down for a 200-lap race and know you have not shit to watch for the next 175 laps. It was a great time. No better way to spend my Sunday.
Well, besides that, Ryan, I thought it was an incredible race.
Ryan, do you really think it took Kyle Busch's stature down in sport? I still think Kyle Busch is the premier driver.
I almost had a stroke. I don't care about Kyle Busch right now. I care about me. I'm not worried about Kyle Busch. He got to go home to Samantha and millions of dollars. I had to go mow, drink, start beating my kids for no reason at all, yell at my wife.
And you killed cats.
Excuse me. Yeah, and I strangled stray cats. Like, screw you. You don't need to be on this earth. If I have to be this piece of shit, you don't. Go ahead. Let's move on. Let's move on. I'm getting all red and flustered. Let's get out of here.
I thought I was disappointed because Chase finally
can't do
in the top 10. And I'm like thinking, I'm bummed. But it's like I just dove in the pool and went swimming with my dogs. It was a whole different story.
Yeah, that's going to be hard to move on from, but let's move on from it a little bit. I mean, Ryan, it was still a great race. Kevin Harvick gets his first win of the season, cements himself into the playoffs. So what does that mean here? Do you think Ryan Blaney's safe? Or does Ryan Blaney need to win? Are we going to get another race winner in the next 3 races?
I'll go ahead and I'll try to be a little bit more serious the rest of the show, but I think it depends on who do you think has the most speed, because I feel like Ryan Blaney has more speed, but I feel like Ryan Blaney's made more mistakes here lately. He hit the wall again today. It feels like their pit team can make a mistake at any second, but at the same time, Martin Truex has just not shown speed to win races outside of a couple races. So I think as long as nothing catastrophic happens, like you get wrecked by a Rick Ware racing car at the beginning of a race, it really could go anyway. And I say that tongue in cheek, but honestly, if I'm Martin Truex, I agree with what I believe it was Jeff Burton said. If you make the last race come down to Daytona, shame on you. And right now, outside of what we've seen so far, that's what Martin Truex is doing, and Ryan Blaney himself. So I give it to the guy with a 19-point lead, but at the end of the day, it's a 19-point lead. That could evaporate very quickly if one thing goes wrong. Like we saw what was possible today.
Well, I think Truex is out, Steven. I'll let you take this one. I think Truex is out because I think you're right. I don't think he has the speed. And if I'm Ryan Blaney right now, the guy that scares me to death to get a win, possibly at Daytona, is Bubba Wallace. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is what made today a compelling day. The racing itself, until the last few laps. But you got this going for you. Fords, they won today, but generally the Fords are not that strong. Okay, all season long. Blaney's driving a Ford for Penske. All right, they had a great day today, but I think that was more on Kevin Harvick's shoulders. And they got that car prepared right, and they pulled it off.
And Kevin Harvick's dominated this race on top of it. So I mean,
right.
He was dominated this race. He's won 5 of the last 7.
6 of the last 8 he's won?
Yeah,
5 of the last
that nature.
Something like that. Toyotas are coming strong. I mean, they're more superior than the Chevrolets are right now. They just haven't put the winning package together, which scares me because I think Toyota will, and I think Martin Truex is going to win somewhere. I don't know where, I don't know when, but he's going to have the equipment. I mean, Hamlin's running strong, Bell's running strong. All of the Toyotas are Logano's running strong, or Logano drives Ford. All the Toyotas are up there right now. They're coming. They're coming with a vengeance on the Chevrolets right now. So I think this last spot, I do think now there's going to be 16 winners. You're going to have to win to qualify to get in. I believe that now. You got Bubba Wallace and running. If you get Kyle Busch or Kurt Busch back in the car, and Gibbs has done great. Ty Gibbs has done a fabulous job, but that's Kurt Busch's seat. He put that car in the playoffs, and when you get him back, and he comes back 100%, he's going to be dangerous too. We all know that. So there's more compelling drama. You're going to 3 absolutely unique tracks. Richmond, what is it, 3/4 mile short track.
Yep.
Then you're going to Watkins Glen. And then short tracks are like, hell, who's going to get hit? Who's going to get tagged from the rear end? It's probably going to be Kyle Busch. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
He's going to get hit by somebody.
Yeah, Garrett Smithley.
And he'll take Chase Elliott out too, so we'll both be pissed off then. Then you go to Watkins Glen, which is a road course, which who knows who the hell is going to win that race because it's a road course. When you got to learn to turn right, all of a sudden it gets hard. And then you go to Daytona, and we all know about the super speedways. Talladega, and it's Daytona, baby. You know, the old saying that they coined. So it's going to be a fun 3 weeks. I can't even begin to tell you. I would not want to be sitting 19 points ahead or 19 points behind. I think you better be winning. I think right now it's win and you're in, or no win, you ain't getting in.
So Steve, right now you're calling it. Martin Truex gets a win in the next 3 races.
I think he does. Yes, I think he will. I think he's a good enough driver, and he's got great equipment. Yes, I think he'll win.
You want to try to pick the track?
That's Richmond.
Ryan?
I think it has to be Richmond if he wins. I don't see him having enough speed. The Toyotas have been terrible on road courses, and traditionally they're not very good on super speedways outside of Denny Hamlin and, of course, now Bubba Wallace. But right now, I'm hedging my bet on Bubba Wallace. There's nobody running better right now in Toyota than he has. He has speed. He's shown it in practice. He's shown it in racing. And I think that he's – I don't want to say nothing bad against him, but there's no way he should have won today. I mean, Kevin Harvick got the lead. He can cry or whatever he wants, but he's running good right now. I mean, he's running the best he ever has, and I think he should tell and build off that. I think that's where you need to see the growth out of Bubba Wallace going, I wish I had the restart better, but at the end of the day, we got a second place finish. I'm looking forward to the next 3 tracks. Well, which he's not a great road course racer, but he did pretty solid at Indy this past week. But I think he gets it done at Daytona. I think, honestly, I just see so much speed out of them right now, out of 23-11, and it makes me wonder what Kurt Busch could be doing right now. No offense to Ty Gibbs. He finished top 10 today. But I feel like last 2 weeks, he's just been tippy-toeing around the track trying not to, screw things up. And today he got to actually race, and he got a top 10 car. I think Kurt Busch at this stage, if he was able to drive a race car right now, I think Kurt Busch could be taking – the playoffs by storm with another win. But right now, I feel like momentum's on 23-11's side. They have stronger cars than Joe Gibbs does right now, in my opinion. They're finishing better than Joe Gibbs is right now. I got to hand it. I feel like Bubba Wallace gets it done. And if you've ever listened to me outside or on this show, you would have never thought that came out of my mouth. But He's shown that he's grown on multiple different tracks, the way that Chase Elliott, they talked about this year. Chase Elliott's not just a road course racer anymore. He's a racer. And I feel like we've seen that growth out of Bubba Wallace here in the last few weeks. And this is the time right now where it matters. You want to carry momentum into the playoffs. Because it doesn't matter what you do in February, March, or April, like we've seen with Kevin Harvick, like we've seen with Denny Hamlin when they won multiple races. Who gets hot, going into the playoffs? And I think that's the most important. And if Bubba Wallace can find himself a win, if Kurt Busch can come back healthy, 23-11's really, really, really got all the momentum rolling their way with the finishes they've had.
Great. Hey, Joe, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Are you safe right now with a win? Are we going to see 2 new winners possibly in these? Because these are 3. I don't have an idea. I think Martin Truex has the best chance to pick. If I was going to betting.net and wanting to pick a winner and find a place to bet on it, I'd say Truex at Richmond. Other than that, I wouldn't dare to bet a dime of my money on Watkins Glen or on Daytona. So are we going to see somebody with a win get booted out, Joe? And Ryan fill in too.
That's a great question. And I think that's a possibility. Because one thing I think we see with Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex, Kevin Harvick got his win. So what we see with Martin Truex, Ryan Blaney over the next couple races is I think they're giving it everything they have and they send it. And I think if that works out for them, they're going to potentially set themselves up for a win. However, we have seen it way too many times where drivers start pressing at the end of the season and they make mistakes. And Martin Truex has been making mistakes all year long. And so is Ryan Blaney, as Ryan pointed out. So I think chances are better that they end up wrecking themselves out than having a strong finish in the next 3 races. Now, you're right. I think we can easily, or I won't say easily, but I think we can go into Richmond next week, and us 3 could pick drivers who we think are going to finish fairly well, and we'll probably do a pretty good job because Richmond's a pretty predictable racetrack. But then when we go into Watkins Glen and Daytona, I mean, it's very possible that those 2 races we get a first-time winner. So I think it's very possible that we may see some guys that are right there in 20, 21st in points end up getting booted out of the playoffs if Ryan Blaney or Martin Truex do get a win over the next 3 races. I think it's unlikely that both of them will get a win, but that is extremely possible to happen, and I think that will actually be great for the sport. Ryan, go ahead.
Steve, here's what would bother me if I'm either one of those. I feel like if you're Martin Truex, you have to put it all in next week. You look at your team because Toyotas have dominated at Richmond, and you say you have to find a way. But I look at 2 drivers that could just change everything after Richmond, and that's Michael McDowell and Chris Buescher, who both have run great on road courses, and both have run typically really, really well on super speedways. We didn't talk enough about Chris Buescher last week. Maybe that's because I had like sun poisoning or something like that and just completely forgot about that. His car caught on fire and somehow finished in 10th place last week in that race. But again, another driver who's run really, really good. He's not finished outside the top 10 in the last 4 road course races. Michael McDowell the same way, hasn't finished outside the top 10 in road course races. So now you're adding Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher, and Bubba Wallace on the last 66% of these regular season races. And if I'm either one of them, I'm like, man, they've been better at me on both of those circuits, any of those drivers. So I don't know. Usually with pressure comes mistakes, and typically I think we're going to see that. I think that when you literally drive and like you're talking about with this type of pressure and these type of circumstances, when you drive to say don't screw things up, you typically make mistakes. Just like you, Steve, played basketball. Last thing you want to do is go to the free throw line and go, shit, I can't miss. Because you don't need negative thoughts going through your head when you're trying to perform. You want positive thoughts.
Ryan, we called it you're either playing not to lose or you're playing to win.
Right.
One or the other. And you got to be playing to win right now.
Yeah, and I think right now the thought process is you got to play because it's if you're Martin Truex, you have one terrible finish, you're done. If you're Ryan Blaney, you feel like you can't play not to screw things up because you have the lead. Meanwhile, you got these other guys, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, and Michael McDowell that's just saying, F it. We're going to put all of our chips on the table. You know where we're at. And typically those type of guys get rewarded, kind of like Joey Logano at the end of the road course last week. When you're the guy sending it, going F it, you're the one that comes out on top versus the guys being conservative, just trying to make a good finish.
Okay, well, that's a $10 question, Joe. Let me start with you, then Ryan. And Joe, I'm not trying to take over. These guys are great dialogue. Are we in helter-skelter mode now for the next 3 weeks, Joe? Are we just going to see balls to the wall, everybody or certain people trying to win, and we're going to see havoc on the track like we saw from J.J. Yaley today more often? You got 3 tracks that can cause that, okay? We're going to see the big one at Daytona. Anytime you get on a road course and you got to turn right, these guys don't know how to turn right very well. And then you're going to a short track, which is rubbing us racing boys. Let's have at it. Joe, are we going to see helter-skelter for the next 3 weeks?
Absolutely.
Ryan, chime in.
Yeah, no, absolutely we are. And we keep bringing up Bubba Wallace, and I think Bubba Wallace is running well. But I think also Bubba Wallace, for whatever reason, is putting a lot of pressure on himself. And I think that is why we've seen a breakdown in his post-race interview where he was holding back tears on a second-place finish. Now, I thought Bubba Wallace ran well today. I don't think he has anything to be ashamed of. I don't think Joey Logano helped him out there with about 40 laps to go. blocking every time he tried to pass. And Logano didn't have a fast car, which allowed Kevin Harvick to get out to a 4.5 second lead. But I think that at Daytona, which Wallace has his best chance to win, I think he's going to be pressing. I think he's going to be pushing. And at a super speedway, we all know that is not a recipe that helps you win. Now, when we go to Richmond, I think we have a lot of cars bumping and pushing and racing, which will lead to a lot of minor wrecks. I think that people are going to have some problems winning a race with. But even with the guys pushing like Martin Truex and Ryan Blaney, you can't discount the Chase Elliott's, the Kyle Bushes, the Kyle Larsons, who typically run well at those short tracks. So, and all those guys are very competitive, and they're going to be trying to get their second or third win of the season as well, or fourth win, fifth win, whatever. So I think the next 3 weeks is probably going to be some of the best racing we've seen all year. Ryan?
All right. So Ryan, does this mean okay, Joe brought up a great point that I wasn't even thinking about. Does Chase Elliott just say, fuck this shit, I'm staying out of this mess, I'm in, I got the most wins, I'm going to get 15 points for finishing there. I want to finish number one in points. So I'm just points racing here. I don't give a damn about any more wins. Or does Chase get in there and get in the mix with them?
I think I'll answer both. I'll answer your last one first. I think if you feel like you got a top 3 car, send it. Otherwise, I agree. Just save it. You already got the number 1 seed like the NFL. Go ahead, rest your guys essentially on that aspect of it. Come back with a complete race car. We're really going to dive into the first, round of the playoffs. That's where we're going to use all of our energy and all of our resources moving forward. And unless you got a top 3 car rolling off, I just don't see the benefit of it outside of money. And at the end of the day, Chase Elliott doesn't need any more money, and neither does Rick Hendrick Racing. So, and on top of what you initially asked, I will say I was a little disappointed with the attendance today in Michigan, because I think we've not seen a situation to where it couldn't be more exciting to go to a racetrack. So I will say that. I thought the Michigan attendance today was kind of rough. Maybe the weather had something to do with that. But if you're in the Richmond area, if you're in the Watkins Glen, New York area, which they never have a problem bringing out fans, and also Daytona, go out and see this. I think that we're going to see some of the craziest racing we could possibly ever see, because you're talking about a situation not only to get in the playoffs, but do damage while you're there, because these cars have never been so much closer. I was looking today, if Kyle Busch won, he goes into like the 5th seed, and he's not been racing obviously that good at all. And if you win, there's no reason why you couldn't make it out of the first round with a couple good runs. You're not just worried about getting in the playoffs. You literally can make it to the second round, because that's how close these cars are because of all the different winners. Typically, we see, like a guy that's won 8 races, 7 races, or anything like that. So I think not only are we talking about the 3 that we've mentioned, but anybody else. Hey, if we get in, shit can happen that goes our way in these next 3 races to where we make it into the round of 8. So I think, there's just nothing going to be – I just think every inch is going to be taken. And, Joe, you mentioned a second ago, when guys are pushing, well, I'd rather be the one pushing than the one being pushed, especially at Daytona, because usually they're the ones that end up getting screwed. Ricky Stenhouse is a great pusher to a fault. And also, if Joey Logano didn't block somebody, it wouldn't be Joey Logano in the car.
Right. No, I agree. But, I think you both bring up great points. I think Chase Elliott might already be in that mode, and I think we saw that today. I don't think Chase Elliott was pushing at all. I think he was out there cruising for 200 laps, and he worked his way into the top 10, but he wasn't fighting for position. He was just out there running laps today. So other than maybe Watkins Glen, I think maybe that's what we see him do for the rest of the next 3 races anyway. What do you think, Steve?
Oh, I agree. I don't know Chase Elliott personally at all. I mean, I met his dad a couple of times at the Brickyard when we sponsored the Viagra card and had Mark Martin and I had hot passes, and I got to run into Bill Elliott. but I never met Chase. But I think that anytime he gets in the car, like Brian said, if you got a fast car, you're going to go play to win. If you don't, what's the point? Stay out of it. Keep your equipment clean. Keep your crew chief, your crew in good spirits, and let's just dial it in now for the first playoffs. We're going in with a nice cushion. Don't fight it. So I don't see him, but I don't know. I know as a competitor to me, I wanted to win every basketball game. Every time I put Indiana on my chest for the uniform that I had the privilege of wearing for IU basketball, I went out there and wanted to kick somebody's ass. I didn't care who it was or what was going on. So I don't know how the mentality is, but I think Ryan's right. If you're not in the top three and you're somebody like that, back it off. Let those guys go because it's going to get messy up front. And you're going to see the guys that are contending. You're going to see Truex and Blaney up front. You're going to see Christopher Bell up front. You're going to see the guys. Harvick still is not locked into the playoffs. I mean, especially, he's what? Last I saw, he's last in the point standings, Ryan. Is that true or not?
I would have to look that up. While you guys are talking, I'll look that up while you guys are talking.
Yeah, I think he's down. And so I don't think 16 is a very safe, any more safe than Blaney is, 19 points ahead right now, truthfully. Joe, what do you think?
No, I think we have we have 3 races left and 1 spot left to fill a playoff spot. And I think that this year is a real possibility that we see a race winner not make the playoffs. Jose says, again, what happened to the Trackhouse team? Cars number 1 and 99 were leading and then needed fuel. What the hell? Well, Jose, Ross Chastain was Ross Chastain today. So he forgot.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he forgot he had a brake pedal. So and then
I got a couple feelings.
Wait, I forgot that in the car wash, and I actually, when I was pulling into the car wash, I tagged the guy in front of me and did $4,000 worth of damage to the rear end of his little damn Subaru.
Yeah. And actually, I think, Ryan, you're going to hit on this. I don't know if today was totally Ross Chastain's fault, but go ahead, Ryan. I'll let you answer that.
No, it was definitely Christopher Bell's fault. That Christopher Bell was trying to block a guy that just came off pit road that had faster tires than him. And Jose, what happens in this sport, which you do have to pit, we were literally in the middle of a green flag pit cycle. And if you're the first one to pit, you take that shot of you're going to have the fastest tires while everybody else is slow. But at a track like this, you also might go a lap down because you're pitting. The last thing you can have happen is after you pit, you get a yellow flag. And unfortunately, Ross Chastain was part of the reason why there was a yellow flag, and he ended up being a lap down, so he did damage to his car. Daniel Suarez, again, was a guy that pitted with him. The only thing I would say, Joe, about that is, yes, I thought Christopher Bell was at fault. But again, on top of what you're saying, Ross Chastain never remembers that he can take his foot off the gas pedal. He had nothing to gain by slamming into the back of Christopher Bell. But that being said, it was Christopher Bell's fault. Why you're trying on a track where you're going 207 miles an hour to try to block somebody possibly going 10 mile an hour faster than you is really stupid.
Yeah, no,
it ruined his day too.
I agree, and it did ruin his day because Ross Chastain had a fast car and a car that could have been in contention. So, anybody have any thoughts on the Cole Custer fire and what's going on with his tires? Anybody put any thought into that?
I just think that we saw 2 fires here recently, and most of the time it's coming from brake dust. It looks like to me. He tried to brake getting onto pit road. We saw, a fire last week with I just mentioned it, Chris Buescher. I do find it an interesting rule that if your car's on fire and you try to get out of the car, you automatically can't ever race after that. So, it could be just a small fire. But if I'm sitting there strapped in with 4,000 different things and they're like, hey, you got a fire in the car, my ass is hitting grass. I don't care. I can't see how big it is. I'm getting the hell out of there. But NASCAR's got a rule where if you get out of the car, it's over. So, I found that interesting that Chris Buescher's just in there suffocating to death, but he's like, I'm not going to get out so we can race. And, well, got him 10th place. So it is an interesting rule.
I agree. Well, I think we've pretty much hit everything, all the major points of today. I think we can go ahead and wrap up the show. Do any of you two have any final thoughts on today? Steve?
No, I thought the end was great. I mean, God, good for Kevin Harvick, good for Bubba Wallace. He showed strength. Good for 2311. Good for the Toyotas. I think they're coming strong. Good for Ford to get a win. It's probably their only, and there's all positives in this whole race. In Michigan, I've been to Michigan. That's one of the tracks that I have actually gone to. And talking about attendance, Ryan, if you've ever tried to go to Michigan, it's like 2-lane country road all the way into Brooklyn, Michigan, where this track is. I mean, it takes longer to get in and out. Then you watch 4 hours to get in, 2 hours to watch a race, 4 hours to get out. It's not an easy place to visit. So I thought attendance was solid for the track that I've been to. And it's the coolest track because it's 2 miles, but you can sit up in the stands. And the way they built the stands, you can see the entire track all the way around. And you see the cars just dicing and slicing all the way through. So great day for NASCAR, I thought. Great day for Kevin Harvick. Great day for Bubba Wallace. Great day for Toyotas. Ford got a win. All in all, a great experience for NASCAR today. I don't even know who won the IndyCar race. And don't tell me, because I've got it on tape. I haven't even watched it yet.
I don't know either, Steve. I didn't watch it.
So, yeah, I'm going to watch that tonight. So I thought it was a great day for NASCAR. Joe or Ryan?
Ryan, you got any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think that the last thing that could be said is, and we didn't talk about the winner very much, but at the end of the day, Kevin Harvick was given a 3-run lead going into the ninth inning, and he slammed the door with 3 strikeouts, and that's why they call him the closer. He took advantage of some guys battling, and he didn't look back. He didn't make a single mistake. He ended up winning this race, by I think 3.2 seconds. That's because he coasted on the last lap, and that's, something you can never count out these veteran drivers is when they give the opportunity to win a race. More often than not, they take advantage of it, especially a guy that's literally earned the reputation and nickname the closer. So it's good for Kevin Harvick, a guy that I have never in my life rooted for, but for some odd reason, I was kind of happy to see him in victory lane, and maybe that's because he said nice things about Kyle Busch last week. But it's good to see a mix. We've seen first-time winners, a ton of first-time winners this year. We got veterans, and I think going into the playoffs in these last 3 weeks, I have no idea what to expect. And that's what this season has provided. And, the only disappointment that I have is that a caution did come out because I thought we had a chance to see a 6-way running for first place after green flag pit stops because the racing was really that good.
Right.
But Kevin Harvick took advantage of the opportunity given to him, and he, ran away with it. And, I couldn't be more excited for Richmond next week. It should be a really good race. Again, nobody knows how you're going to come out when it comes to a tire management and also a fuel track. Fuck Rick Ware. That's it.
All right, but Joe, before you start, made me laugh again. I want to just say, on behalf of our sponsor and our owner, Mike Goodpaster, Ryan did not go out and kill cats today, okay? He actually did not do that. That's a metaphor. So the SPCA isn't calling Malta or Lawrenceburg, Indiana, looking for Mike Goodpaster, our owner, and saying we're all in trouble because Ryan went out and killed cats. That did not really happen. All right. Now, I know Goodpaster goes out and shoots raccoons in his backyard and eats them for dinner 3 nights a week, but that's a different story. So that's kill is necessary for food.
Well, anyway,
that statement. Go ahead, Joe.
That's going to wrap up our show tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Before we leave you, we do want to remind you that the Grueling Truth in this NASCAR post-race show has been powered by betting.net. Betting.net is your best bet to find an online casino or sportsbook that's right for you. Also, we will be back Wednesday night for our regular scheduled NASCAR show, where we're going to dive into playoff implications and what we think we're going to see again around the NASCAR Cup circuit. We're also going to dive into other news. You could catch us on Facebook or YouTube or Twitch. Also, I do believe that our Twitter here at The Grueling Truth is back up and running. So if you want to head over there and give us a follow, that would be great too. Also, you will be able to catch Ryan Peters and I's show, Froggy Talking Sports, on on Fridays on The Grueling Truth, where we dive into all kinds of sports-related topics. It's a very good show. So we will see you on Wednesday night. Ryan, Steve, have a great night.
Screw you, JJ.